Alright, hello guys, welcome back to this channel. This is Ike Akimbola speaking. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at some of those possible exemption, that is tax exemption, that you can enjoy even while you are looking up to next year when the NTA will be fully implemented. And that is the Nigerian Tax Act that was signed, some few months ago. Now, it is very important to understand that you have to be able to put yourself on the right path to be able to maximize this new law, right? You must make sure that you have a lot of knowledge about the tax to be able to know which aspects to explore better, right? So, and if you don't have a better knowledge about it, you would find yourself in a compromising position, and at the end of the day, you might regret why you have never started in the first place. So this video is a full walkthrough to guide you on how you can pay less tax as much as possible, and we're going to be doing it legally. In the last video I made, I discussed with you guys on how you can pay little or no tax at all, and that is tax not tax avoidance. Now, I was not talking about how you could cheat the government or anything. I was just we're looking at legal ways or legal options that you can use to make sure that you pay less tax. That was what led us to what we were talking about: tax evasion and tax avoidance. So we are learning tax avoidance. So when you avoid something, that means when you get to that place where you have avoided it, you will not meet it there, right? But tax evasion means that it is already on you and you are trying to dodge it. At that point, you will be a criminal to try to evade a tax that has already been billed on you. So if the federal government bills you 10 million as a tax on you as a person, and you are trying to now evade it, then you are a criminal that way. So we're going to be learning legal ways to make sure that you can reduce and jack down the tax you're supposed to pay to the federal government to the barest minimum. So I'm going to be speaking using some few points and some few deductions I got online from the official website and the social media platforms of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee, right? So one of the major options they gave is for personal income tax. Now, that is the payee or payee, individual earning the national minimum wage or less. So you're exempted. That I told you, don't forget in that video, I told you that that's one of the ways. Just make sure you don't earn more. Once you don't earn beyond 800,000, you're exempted from tax, right? So you can see that from January 1st, 2026, the new tax law will provide many relief and exemption for low-income earners, average taxpayer, and small business, including those that are paying any less than 800,000. Now, annual gross income up to 1.2 million, translating to about 800,000 taxable income, is exempted. So 800,000 taxable income is exempted. Once you are earning below 800,000, you are exempted from paying tax, right? Reduced payee tax for those earning annual gross income up to about 20 million. So before now, the payee tax used to be of a higher percentage, but now it has been reduced to a percentage that is more affordable for people, right? And gifts are exempted from tax. So if you are giving somebody gift, so let's say for instance, my money that has been taxed, I want to give someone money for something as a gift. That money, that person will not be taxed on that money. Do you understand? Me, I have paid tax on the money. Okay, so let's say for instance, I want to gift my parents money, not salary. They are not working for me. I want to gift them money for their upkeep and everything. Make sure you properly describe the money you are transferring to them as gift to make sure that you are able to pass the right information across. Now let's look at the allowable deductions and relief for individuals. So what are the deductions that are allowed for you to remove or to reduce or to remove from whatever you are supposed to pay as tax? The first one is the pension contribution to your PFA, your national health insurance scheme. So if you don't have a pension contribution, please go and work on one. National health insurance scheme, national housing fund contribution, interest on loans for owners occupied residential housing. So if you are renting a house, there is a, if you are taking a loan, or right, there's any interest on that loan for owners occupied, there is a tax relief on it. Life insurance or annuity premium, there's also an allowable deduction for that. Rent relief, there's also what is called the rent relief. Now the rent relief is a 20% of the annual rent up to 500,000. So let me give an example. If my rent is 500,000, for instance, I can deduct up to 25% of my rent from that particular from my salary, right? So but if my rent is going to about 10 million naira and the percentage, that is 20%, is going far beyond 500,000, I cannot cut more than 500,000. Maybe the 20% is about, okay, 25 million, 20% of 5 million should be 1 million. I cannot do that. So I think up to like if I'm not mistaken, my maths is very bad. I think 2.5 million or thereabout. 2.5 million, you can get 500,000 as 20% of 2.5 million. Please check that math and confirm with me in the description below. So if you have 2.5 million, your 20% is 500,000. So once your monthly rent goes beyond 2.5 million and you are paying 3 million and all, you cannot remove more than 500,000 as deductible from that. I believe you get what I'm trying to say. So this is very crucial for us to understand as some of the deductibles that this government is allowing us to get access to. So let's look at the other deductibles. So other deductibles include the health and medical services. So if you are paying for health and medical services, there's a deduction on that. If you are paying for pharmaceutical products, there's a zero VAT. You are not going to be paying VAT on medical products, right? Small companies that have less than or equal to 100 million turnovers are exempted from charging VAT. So my company that is earning less than 100 million, I don't have to pay value added tax. I think VAT is about 7.5 million naira. I said 7.5 million naira. VAT is about 7.5%, if I'm not mistaken, about thereabout. So before now, but from this new regime, you are not going to be paying VAT any longer. I made a previous video on that and we're going to be releasing it very soon. Diesel, petrol, and solar power equipment, right? VAT suspended or exempted. So for those particular details, diesel, you're not going to be paying VAT on diesel, petrol, solar power equipment, just to allow that economy to boost, right? Refund of VAT on asset and overhead to produce VAT-able or 0% VAT goods and services. Agricultural input, that is fertilizer, seed, seedling, feeds, and live animals, there will be no VAT. So that means that we should be seeing a reduction in the price of some of these things. In pharmaceutical products, there should be a reduction in the price since VAT is removed. In agricultural products, there should be a reasonable reduction in the price of these things as at next year. We hope these people are going to comply, right? Purchase, lease, or hire of equipment for agricultural purposes. So if you are starting an agricultural business, if you purchase or lease a particular farmland or product or anything you are leasing, there's not going to be a tax you're going to be paying. That is the value added tax. We will not be paying that as well, right? So the next thing we want to consider, also disability aids, hearing aids, wheelchair, braille materials, right? For blind, those that are blind, right? Transport, shared passenger road transport, non-charter, right? Electrical vehicles and parts exempt, right? Humanitarian supply, there's an exemption on that. Baby products, sanitary towels, tiny towel, pads, tampon as well. We also have for land and building, right? We also have stamp duty exemption. Some of the stamp duty exemption we have is like the electronic money transfer that is below 10,000, right? Salary payment as well. There's an stamp duty exemption on that. Intra-bank transfers as well. There's a stamp duty exemption on that. Transfer of government security or shares. There's a stamp duty exemption on that. All documents for transfer of stocks and shares. There's also a stamp duty exemption on that. So this good news is to be shared to everyone, and I've done my own part. I've shared this good news to you guys on the 50 possible exemptions that you can enjoy with this new tax act, Nigerian Tax Act, right? So influencing for good all these other things are not important. But one of the things you should important is that you must take note of this and make sure you position yourself properly in order to maximize it. I'll see you in the next one. My name is Agumola Ezekiel.